Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
It is another chilly and brisk afternoon here in the Motor City. Today, the Tigers bring to a close their series with the Yankees. Welcome to Comerica Park, fourth and final game featuring the New York Yankees and your Detroit Tigers. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario Pember, Ron Allen. Glad to have you with us here for the series finale. Tigers certainly need a bounce-back win today, Rod. If they can get it after last night's long evening, they get the split in this series.
Well, they need to split. The Tigers have not lost a series all season long. The Yankees, they have come in here and played some outstanding baseball. They're on an 11-game road trip. They've won 6 of the prior 10 games, so they're playing some good baseball right now.
All right, now we need a guy to straighten his act out. That would be Anibal Sanchez. His last start was a bumpy one for Anibal. A big start today and for the Tigers.
You know, he threw a couple of bullpens in between the last start that he had and this start he's going to make today. Jeff Jones said they detected a flaw in his delivery. They feel like they have figured that out. He's given up a lot of gopher balls this year already, 5 of those to be exact by Sanchez, only 4 surrendered last year. We will point out some of those adjustments during the contest today. Hopefully he can get that ball down the strike zone and find that good changeup and command his fastball a little bit better today.
You thought it was cold last night? It is 33 degrees today at game time, folks. Tigers coming up with game 4 in this series.
Let's play 2.
Yeah, let's not. Against the New York Yankees. After a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios. Check in with Johnny Kane. But coming up today, it is good to be young, as in Chris Young. 6 hits in the last 2 games in this series. Stay with us. Game 4 next. Sanchez today of the Detroit Tigers, and he is presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Well, hopefully the adjustments that Anibal Sanchez made in between this start and his start 5 days ago against Chicago White Sox bode well for him. He had his worst career start. He gave up 9 earned runs 5 days ago against Chicago.
Here's the Tigers, or I should say the Yankees starting lineup today, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. It'll be Ellsbury, Gardner, and Beltran at the top. They got McCann catching. Headley is at third base. Pretty good series for Chase Headley. Chris Young in right field, and a bottom three of Jones, Drew, and Gregorius. No Alex Rodriguez today in the lineup for the Yankees. We are ready for baseball, and here we go as Sanchez faces Ellsbury. The first pitch of the ball game is a strike called on Jacoby Ellsbury.
Joe Girardi did that a lot last year with with Derek Jeter. On day games after a night game, he would simply give Derek Jeter the afternoon off, as he has done today with Alex.
Ball low, 1 ball, 1 strike now on Ellsbury. He is 3 out of 13 with a steal in the series. In tied at third base, Castellanos on the grass. Everybody else is back against the speedy leadoff man, and he'll foul that one back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's Alex Rodriguez getting the day off today, and if you're going to get a day off, you might as well do it on a 33-degree afternoon. Now Sanchez with the 1-2. Low, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Ellsbury. Did not go, says third base umpire Jerry Davis on the appeal. Cloudy and overcast today. The Tigers wrapping up this series. Indians coming to town beginning tomorrow. Here's the 2-2. He popped him up. Right side of the infield. Cabrera and Kinsler. It's going to be Miguel. No, it's going to be Kinsler. Fake me out. Come on, Miggy.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Bill Fox Chevrolet. The only change is at the shortstop position. Hernan Perez gets the start today. Iglesias getting his second start off this year.
Cabrera threw his hands up, but it was Kinsler catching the ball. Miggy all wrapped up today with the cold weather. 1 out for Brett Gardner, who is back in the lineup in this game, and he looks at ball 1. Gardner has hit safely in his last 4. He is 3 for 8 in this series against the Tigers. Here's the 1-0 pitch. He popped that one up. Shallow center field. Perez, the shortstop, the left fielder, the center fielder, and finally it's Ghost colliding with Cespedes, but Anthony makes the catch. So a couple of balls hit in the air, and there are 2 outs. Tigers had 3 guys surrounding that baseball.
Anthony Ghost is the captain in the outfield, and he called off both Perez and also Cespedes to make the grab.
Here's Beltran, and he looks at strike 1. Here is the shift that they play on. Beltran. No Teixeira today, and no A-Rod, as we mentioned. A couple of big bats out of the lineup for the Yanks, getting the day off. Ball inside, 1-1. Beltran 2 out of 8 in the series. Yankees had a big night last night. 15 hits en route to the win. So far, good start for Sanchez. 2 up, 2 down. And a strike on the outer edge, 1-2.
It's a very nice shot there of that front shoulder of Anibal Sanchez driving directly toward home plate, which allowed him to thread the needle on that fastball away for Beltran.
Sanchez allowing 9 runs in his last start, 5 the start before that. So he's in a stretch right now of allowing 14 runs in about 10 innings.
The 9 earned runs last time out, the most that he'd ever given up in any one start.
Checked it. Did he go? Yes, strike 3 call. With Jerry Davis down at third base to ring him up. First strikeout of the ball game for Sanchez.
Tanaka off to a pretty good start. As a matter of fact, last time out against the Tampa Bay Rays, he had his best fastball. 92, 93, threw some splitters, he threw some curves, he threw some sliders. Real good pitcher with an outstanding split-fingered fastball.
Here's the lineup that he will face today, presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. For the Tigers, it's Ghost, Kinsler, and Miguel Cabrera at the top. Victor Martinez back in there at the DH, JD and right. Yoenis Cespedes has had a big series and good numbers against Tanaka. You've got Avila Castellanos and Hernan Perez playing shortstop today as Jose Iglesias gets the day off. So Ghost, one of just 2 Tigers in this lineup that have faced Tanaka, the other being Cespedes. Anthony is 0 for 3 against him lifetime.
And by the time the Tigers played Tanaka last year, he was already on the disabled list.
Tanaka trying to avoid Tommy John surgery, had a slight tear in his elbow, which he is still pitching with. Swing and miss.
Yeah, they say he's got about a 10% tear in the right elbow,
which obviously is just treatable with rehab, and he's been able to go back out there and avoid surgery to this point. But Yankees fans continue to hold their breath every time he takes the mound. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike on Anthony Ghost. .361 start this year for Ghost. Now Tanaka with the 1-1 pitch. Lifted foul down the left field line. They say in his last start, Tanaka reached 93, 94 miles an hour. That was a good sign. Last year, it got as high as 95, 96 with a fastball.
He also threw quite a few fastballs in that start against Tampa. 56% of his pitches thrown in that start were fastballs, opposed to the first 3 starts. Only 32% with a fastball. So he was confident.
That is slapped to left field. Going to get down. Fair ball. Extra bases for Ghost on his way to second with a double. Leadoff man on for the Tigers.
Something the Tigers have done a very nice job of this year with 2 strikes. Simply put the ball in play and take your chances by using the entire field. That time, Anthony Ghost goes right down the left field line.
See if the Tigers can score first in this game. In the first 3 games in this series, the Yankees have scored first.
Ian Kinsler has a job to do here. Try to hit something through the right side of the infield to get Anthony Ghost at least to third base.
a ball outside to Kinsler.
Garrett Jones, who's playing first base here tonight, he's about 15 to 20 feet off the first base line, trying to take that hole away from Ian Kinsler.
Here's Tanaka's 1-0, and it's a ball outside. 2-0 the count. Kinsler is still looking for that first home run of the year. There is a stiff wind blowing out toward left field today. Temperature now is up to 34 degrees. Good numbers with men in scoring position for Kinsler.
And typically Tanaka throws a fastball in this situation. You know, Kinsler's looking for it.
Right back up the middle. Knocked down briefly by Tanaka and backed up by the second baseman. Drew throws him out.
Kinsler had some great at-bats last night. Really nothing to show for it. Hit that ball awfully hard. Let's take a look at the New York Yankees starting defense, brought to you by Tim Hortons. Gardner, Ellsbury, Young in the outfield. Gregorius, Drew up the middle in the infield. Headley, Jones on the corners. And Brian McCann is the catcher.
And we'll bring up Miguel Cabrera now with a man at third base.
Yankees conceding the run in the infield. Anything on the ground except back to the pitcher. The Tigers will score first here today.
And Miggy looks at a ball outside. 1-0. Cabrera 2 for 10 in the series so far against the Yanks. A couple of home runs, 10 RBIs this year. And a golden opportunity here to pick up his 11th RBI of the season. And Cabrera looks at a ball low. 2-0 the count. Victor Martinez waiting on deck. Tanaka being very cautious with Cabrera, with Victor lurking.
And the best way for him to get out of this might be just to put Miguel Cabrera on first base and let his team play for another double play.
Miggy goes after the 2-0.
Yeah, Miggy left the strike zone there. That was a ball.
Well, today's field conditions are presented by Ace Hardware and the Scotts Company. It is 34 degrees right now here at the ballpark. And very overcast, but we mentioned the wind is blowing out toward left field. There are the flags above the light standard in left.
Dave Clark, Tigers third base coach, told me this morning that last night's game was the coldest that he'd ever been on a baseball field. He said that's how cold it was last night. Coldest he'd ever been.
Well, he's going to get challenged again today. There's another foul back out of play. 2-2 on Miguel.
And Tanaka in his last start, we told you, threw a lot of fastballs at the Tampa Bay Rays. And it looks like he's going to do the same thing here against the Tigers. The book on him is the fact that he likes to go to that splitter. But teams have started to look for that splitter, so he's simply gone to more fastballs his last couple of outings.
Tanaka made only 20 starts last year because of the elbow problems, but boy, what a start he had to his big league career. 13-5 with a 2.77. Brian McCann once again flashing the signals today for the Yankees.
Here's where it's very difficult to get Miguel Cabrera out. Very seldom does he chase pitches out of the strike zone. And there are very few guys in the big leagues that can get Miggy out in the strike zone.
Low and away, 3-2. Joe Girardi has watched his team win 2 of the first 3 games in this series. They're playing some pretty good baseball.
8 years as the Yankees skipper.
Now Tanaka with the 3-2. And he lost in ball 4, so Cabrera gets a walk. And they will try and play for a double play here. Now, that's something they've done quite a bit of this year.
That's just smart pitching by Tanaka. With a runner on third base, less than 2 outs, really no need in giving Miguel anything good to hit. One, he wears out Yankee pitching historically. And you got Victor Martinez behind you, who's not necessarily swinging the bat the way that he is capable of yet.
And because of that, he is a double play candidate. The Yankees have turned 9 double plays in this series.
If you're Victor, you're looking for one pitch up in the strike zone and you don't want to get greedy. You'll simply take a fly ball lofted deeply enough to left field to allow Ghost to come home. When you get greedy in these situations, you tend to roll over toward the second baseman.
Good block by McCann. 1-0 on Martinez. Tigers got a leadoff double from Ghost. He's standing in third now with 1 out, and Cabrera in first base. Victor in the series is 0 for 7. He's had only 3 hits on the homestand. Now Tanaka ready with the 1-0 pitch. Here it is. Sails outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Masahiro last year won his first 6 decisions. Actually started the year 11-1 for the Yankees. And had it not been for the elbow injury, may have had a spectacular season. Won 13 games nonetheless. Here's the 2-0. In there for a strike. 2-1 on Victor Martinez. J.D. Martinez waiting on deck. Tigers last night fell behind 6-0 in the first inning. Could never really regain footing. And trying to score first here this afternoon. Martinez hits it high in the air to left. Gardner lines it up. Runner tags up. Goes trying to score. Gardner's throw is off target. Both runners move up. And the Tigers have a 1-0 lead.
It's an unselfish at bat by the Tigers' designated hitter. It's a 2-1 count, and 80% of the time you know you're going to get a fastball here from Tanaka, but Victor doesn't try to do too much. He simply wanted to stay with it and hit it deep enough to Gardner, who does not throw well from that position, to allow Ghost to get back to third base to tag up. Just great concentration by Victor.
Ghost with the excellent speed, able to beat the throw, which was off target anyway.
Tigers will run on the center fielder here today, Ellsbury, and they will run on Gardner as well in left.
So J.D. Martinez now trying to knock in a run as Cabrera took second base on that fly ball. 11 driven in this year for Martinez, and J.D. 4 out of 7 of the series. He's also scored a couple of runs. Breaking ball in for a strike. 0-2 on Martinez. J.D. today checks in second in the American League in home runs with 5 so far this year. And the 0-2. Low, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tigers come into play today with 11 wins, 11-4, tied with Kansas City for first place in the American League Central. Here's the 1-2. Just off the plate again, 2-2. This is what it looks like in the Central Division. Right now, Detroit and Kansas City by far playing the best baseball in the Central. Everybody else is trying to get back up to 500. Yankees, meanwhile, making a move. They're just a game back in the East. And Tanaka missed again, 3-2.
This is the final game of a 11-day, 10-game road trip for the Yankees. They've won 6 of the first 9, so it's been a very productive road trip for them.
Anytime you can win a 10-game road trip and be above 500, that's pretty good, and that's what the Yankees are guaranteed of. Here's the 3-2. And he got him. Strike 3 call. Martinez thought he had ball 4. Phil Cuzzy disagreed. Tigers get a run. We go to the second. Baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. When it's time, come to Comerica. Dodge, come in for the high-powered deals during the Dodge Awards season events. And by Capri Sun, no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. Back here at chilly Comerica Park, Tigers out to a 1-0 lead here this afternoon. Back to the hill goes Anibal Sanchez. He'll face Brian McCann to start things off in the second. The shift on for McCann, and he takes ball 1 outside. As Castellanos playing between Kinsler and Cabrera, Miggy hugging the line. One ball, 1 strike. Foul back the other way. 1-2 on McCann. 3 for 13 in the series for the Yankees catcher.
Looked like McCann with that last swing was trying to beat the Tigers' shift. And by driving the ball to left field, he kind of tied himself up on a Anibal Sanchez fastball.
Here's the 1-2. Well, he's talked about working on that in spring training. Do you think that will affect his power at all if he's trying to beat the shift constantly?
I think playing at Yankee Stadium, he's going to be fine because that porch is so short down the right field line of just 314. But when they venture away from Yankee Stadium, it might rob him of some of his power, but he'll be better with runners in scoring position.
Martinez comes in to catch that fly ball. McCann is out, 1 away.
See, that's a homer in Yankee Stadium. No, not quite.
No, it needed a little bit more, but it was close. Here is Chase Headley. So the Tigers will continue to play that same shift against Headley.
The one thing that a lot of people worried about regarding the Yankees coming into the 2015 season, one, their rotation was in question, but also their offense. But so far this year, the offense is pretty good. They're hitting a lot of home runs, and they're scoring a lot of runs as a team. Much better than people thought.
They did last night. 13 runs on 15 hits in last night's game. There's a strike called 0-2 on Headley.
And we haven't seen all the teams yet, but I guarantee you there aren't many teams that have 4 and 5 guys trotting out of their bullpen that have 95 and above fastballs either.
Swing and a miss. Sanchez dispatching Headley. 2 gone.
Well, it looks like the adjustment that was made with Jeff Jones and Sanchez in between starts is a good one. Able to get to that really nice arm slot and bury that changeup at the bottom of the strike zone against Chase Headley.
By the way, stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll select our Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by the 2 for $5 classic quarter pounder with cheese.
Jeff Jones told me before the game that Anabal's last couple of starts, he's been giving up a lot of home runs. He's been too up and down on that back leg. As a result, he hasn't gotten to a good arm slot. He hasn't been able to throw balls down in the strike zone, but you can see he's got a little bend to that right leg now, which is allowing him to get to a balance point, gather himself, and get on top of the baseball.
Pitching coaches are paid to notice things like that.
Well, it was so uncommon for Sanchez, who does not give up a lot of home runs, but has already given up more this year than all of last season.
Here's a guy having a fabulous series, Chris Young. 6 for 9 with a homer in the series. And he looks at a ball outside, 1-1. So far, 5 up, 5 down against Sanchez. Young also has a double to go with his home run in this series. And now Sanchez taking too long. 1-1 is outside, 2-1.
Let's take one look at the Sanchez delivery and focus on the right leg and where he ever so slightly bends the knees at. That's the area where he has to have a little bit of a bend in the legs to make sure that he gets on top of the ball.
3-1 on Young. Now Sanchez with the 3-1 pitch. Lifted down the left field line. That is going to drop. It's another hit for Young, his 7th in the series. He's going to try for 2, but wisely put on the brakes.
Well, he understands and he knows first and foremost that there's no left fielder that has a better and stronger throwing arm than Yoenis Cespedes. There's a changeup that just kind of fades about thigh high inside to Chris Young, and he's on a mission right now.
He had that aggressive turn at first base, indicating he would go for 2, but thought better of it. So here is Garrett Jones with a runner at first and 2 outs. There's a strike on Jones, getting the start at first base today for Mark Teixeira. Jones, a former Minnesota Twin and Pittsburgh Pirate. That's down low. They got him from the Marlins along with Nathan Eovaldi.
Well, he's got some sock in his bat, and one of the things that we've already well documented is the fact that half the Yankees games are played in a park where it's very inviting to left-handers with power.
Shattered bat, rolled into short right field. Castellanos throws him out. It's a 5-3 ground out. No runs, a hit, 1 man left. When we go to the bottom of the second, Yoenis Cespedes will lead things off.
Last delivery of the game. Tigers off to a really nice start. Goes with a double down the left field corner. Very patient at bat by Kinsler. Does his job. He gets him over to third. Miggy recognizing the situation with a runner on third, less than 2 outs. He wasn't going to get anything too good to hit, so he kept the line moving for Victor Martinez, who got the sacrifice fly to left.
And so Yoenis Cespedes will start things off here in the Tigers' second. 1-0 Detroit. Tanaka threw 23 in that first inning. 12 of them were balls. Strike one on Cespedes.
Tigers did a nice job of laying off some of the borderline pitches that he was throwing up there, forcing him into coming over the plate a little bit more efficiently so they could put the ball in play.
Fly ball left field. Brett Gardner is under it. And Cespedes is out, 1 away. Here's the ratio now on Masahiro Tanaka. 13 strikes of his 25.
I've been watching Tanaka every single day, and typical of most Japanese-born players, they like to throw every day. He pitched 5 days ago, but he was throwing every single day in the outfield here at Comerica Park.
Tanaka saying after his last start that his arm strength is not quite totally there yet, but he expects it to be there soon. He didn't pitch quite as much this spring because of the elbow. Ball missing low, 1-0. But it really is a different mindset, isn't it, Rod, as far as workout regimens and how much they throw?
And you're also going up against the best players in the world when you're playing stateside. Whereas in Japan, there's some good players, but not nearly the competition that you go up against on a nightly basis here.
Avila takes high.
They say that the fastball, no issue, the four-seam fastball, the two-seamer or the cutter, nor is the splitter an issue for Tanaka, but he really hasn't had a good breaking ball. He hasn't had a good slider. He hasn't had a good curveball, and some people believe he may be a little afraid to kind of snap those pitches off with the 10% tear already in the elbow.
That is in for a strike, 2-1.
Nice action on that 90-mile-per-hour swing back fastball thrown by Tanaka.
Here's a bender that drops in for a strike, 2-2. Avila, 3 for 7 in the series. They shift him to the right side of the infield, as do most teams, if not every single team. Alex had an RBI single in the first inning last night. The Tigers scored 4 times in the first. And a ball inside. 3-2 on Avila. Castellanos trying to stay by that heater as long as he can. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss. 2 gone.
It's a pretty good pitch here by Tanaka. It's a breaking ball. And a 3-2 breaking ball.
Second strikeout of the ball game for Tanaka as he looks for the 1-2-3 inning. Here is Castellanos. 2 for 9 for Castellanos. Had the 9-game hitting streak ended last night. Longest hitting streak of his career, and Tanaka drops in another breaking ball, 0-1. Yankees really had a chance to have a really solid rotation had it not been for some injuries the last couple of years. Sabathia's been hurt. Tanaka's been hurt. Nova with Tommy John surgery. Pineda's been hurt. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
That is a well-located fastball at 90 miles an hour after the previous 74-mile-per-hour curveball was thrown for strike 1.
right on the outer edge. So Tanaka now with the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him with the breaking ball, and that is 3 strikeouts for Masahiro Tanaka. Tigers baseball today presented by Bell Tire. Bell Tire. Myers, save big with M-Perks from Myers. Sign up at mperks.com. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Sanchez back to work as we go to the top of number 3 here at the ballpark. Tigers are leading the Yankees by a score of 1-0. Stephen Drew starts it off. It'll be Drew, Gregorius, and then Ellsbury. Bouncing ball, second base side for Ian Kinsler. Third straight frame now that Sanchez has gotten the leadoff man. Here is Didi Gregorius. "18 strikes of the 30 thrown by Sanchez. Gregorius has a couple of RBIs in this series. He is 2 out of 7. Strike 1 from Sanchez. Popped up foul. That'll find the seats. 0-2 on Gregorius. Last year with Arizona, hit just .226, 6 home runs, a little bit of pop in his bat. Certainly, Rob, they know what he can do defensively.
Yeah, he's known more for his glove than his bat at this point in time. Off to a slow start in his new home in New York.
Here's the 0-2. Another one back out of play.
It's going to be difficult for him. He's replacing a legend. And Joe Girardi can tell the youngster Didi Gregorius all he wants to is just go out and play defense and stay within yourself. But the fact remains the same. The guy that occupied that position for the last 20 years is going to the Hall of Fame, Derek Jeter. One and two on Gregorius. Waiting on deck is the top of the lineup. Jacoby Ellsbury, 1 out, nobody on in the third. Tigers got a run in the first. Sac fly by Victor Martinez. Checked it. Did not go, says Jerry Davis. 2-2.
Another check swing. Now they'll finally get the appeal, and Jerry Davis said no, he held up. So it's 3-2 now on Gregorius. Full count pitch is fouled back. Didi grew up in Curacao, which is an island that has produced some major leaguers. Former Tiger Randall Simon was from Curacao, but growing up, Didi Gregorius was a childhood friend and teammates of Andrelton Simmons of the Atlanta Braves, their fine shortstop. And he lost him, ball 4.
Joe Girardi gave him a day off a couple of days ago, and it's worked very well for Gregorius.
So with 1 on and 1 out, here is Jacoby Ellsbury. He popped up back in the first inning. So far in this game, Sanchez has allowed a single and a walk. We'll keep an eye on Gregorius. 1 stolen base this year. He's attempted only 2.
Yeah, he doesn't run all that much. Only 3 last year in the big leagues for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Pulled foul down the first base line.
Although with Anibal Sanchez on the mound, and Joe Girardi might just want to attempt to steal here. It's the one thing that Sanchez does not do a great job of, and that's limiting the stolen bases against him.
Yesterday's loss meant the Tigers lost back-to-back games for the first time all season. They're trying to earn the split in the series with a win here today as they chase Gregorius back again. Ellsbury now 3 for 14 in the series, signed a 7-year deal last season. There's a ball outside, 1-1.
Here's where teams have been able to exploit the weakness of Sanchez the last number of years. The opponents are very successful stealing bags when he's on the mound. 90% success rate. That is the worst percentage of any starter in the majors.
Runner goes. Avila's throw. Not in time, and it skips off the glove of Hernan Perez. Gregorius has a steal.
The one thing that they have been doing with Sanchez is they've kind of adopted the program that Max Scherzer had while he was here. Max didn't have a great move, but what Max started to do was kind of hold the ball on the mound. It's a great jump by Gregorius. Avila really had no shot. And Mario, that worked very well for Max.
It did, and it was something that Max actually practiced in the bullpen, holding it, what, 6, 7, 8 seconds?
Yeah, because those numbers that we just put up there by Sanchez are not good.
No, and I had no idea he was dead last. The worst. But that's something hopefully that he can improve on by other various means. Tying run now in scoring position for the Yankees. 1-2 on Jacoby Ellsbury. Two balls, 2 strikes. What is a good time to the plate in terms of a pitcher trying to hold a runner on?
1.1, 1.2 seconds. 1.3, 1.4 and above.
No chance.
You're inviting guys that have not great speed to steal bags. But if you're going to shut down a running game, you've got to be really quick with a slide step of 1-1, 1-2 max.
Sanchez on that steal was a 1.5.
Oh,
to give you a bit of reference there. The 2-2 is outside, 3-2.
I like the pitch there. Elevate the fastball up to see if Jacoby would offer at it, but it was a little bit too high, so he simply took it. But that's where you want to get Jacoby out, up in the strike zone. He's a really good low ball hitter, as is most left-handers in the big leagues.
Here's the 3-2. Lifted back out of play. Ellsbury last year was batting third in the lineup for the Yankees, batting leadoff these days. And playing center field. Now Sanchez ready with the 3-2. Here it is. Lost it, ball 4. And now the Yankees have something brewing here with a pair of walks. Let's go back to the studio now for a game break. Here's Johnny Kane. Yeah, Johnny, thanks. He came back nicely from that first Tommy John surgery. This is going to be an uphill climb, though, for Joe. We wish him the best and certainly wish him well. He believes he can pitch again in the big leagues.
He worked so hard in the offseason to get himself ready for this season. A lot of weightlifting by Joe, but that's just one of those things that you just can't control. And at age 40, I know Joe believes he can come back, and he probably can, but it's going to be a very long road back.
Brett Gardner, the batter. Well, that pretty much cements Joakim Soria in the closer spot down for the Tigers the rest of the way. And we'll see what kind of adjustments they make in terms of their bullpen going forward with the loss now of Joe Nathan. Alex Wilson was recalled today. Here's a bouncing ball right side. Nice play, Miggy. Pitcher covering and out at first base.
That is an outstanding play by Miguel Cabrera, and also Anibal Sanchez getting off the mound as quickly as he was able to get off the mound to get the speedy runner, Brett Gardner. Anytime the ball hit to the right side of the infield, you've got to be off at the crack of the bat. That's exactly what Anibal Sanchez was, and that's why they were able to execute that perfectly, just the way they draw it up in spring training.
So much attention is given to Cabrera's offensive exploits, but man, he can really play some first base.
And also something else that some of you may have noticed at the end of that video is the fact that Cabrera gave the ball to Sanchez before he got to the bag, so he could catch it and then look down to tag the bag, and not trying to do both of those at the same time.
Here is Carlos Beltran. He's batting now with 2 men in scoring position, 2 out. Beltran struck out in the first inning. Tigers a run on 1 hit. The Yankees no runs on 1 hit, but they have 2 walks here in the third. Here's the 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike on the veteran hitter.
Anibal Sanchez already closing in on 50 pitches here in the third inning. And Brett Ausmus had to go to that bullpen quite often in last night's game, with David Price only lasting a couple of innings.
Yeah, didn't expect that. They had to bring Nesbitt into the third, and then it was just a parade of relievers the rest of the way. Ian Kroll was sent down because he had pitched on consecutive nights. Broken bat foul at first base.
You know what's going to happen anytime you have a game where you have to go through just about all of your relievers and you're not sure what you're going to get the next day. You have to call somebody up from the minors.
Yeah, and Wilson is the fresh arm, and he was not doing all that shabby down in Toledo.
Well, hopefully Kroll can go down there and pitch like he pitched in spring training, because they're going to need Kroll in that bullpen if they're going to get to where they want to get to this year.
1-2 on Beltran. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Sanchez comes back with his 3rd strikeout of the game in a huge spot. Yankees get a couple of walks and they lead 2. Tigers battle the Indians at 108. Come early for a special on-field salute to Tigers great Lou Whitaker. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER and visit tigers.com.
Indians are already in town. They played a day game yesterday in Chicago, so they've been in the Motor City for a couple days now.
Really, they're probably hanging out at the hotel. The weather's been so cold.
You know it. Where else you gonna go?
Well, Tanaka back to the hill now as we go to the bottom of the third inning. Tigers trying to build on their 1-0 lead. Hernan Perez leads it off. And he takes ball one high.
It looks like Tanaka pitching a little bit differently here today against the Tigers versus 5 days ago against Tampa. Tampa does not have the same kind of potency in their lineup that Detroit does. Therefore, much more off-speed pitches today thrown by Tanaka than he did against them.
Ball's hit to the corner in right field. Playable, it appears. Yep, up against nearly the railing there was Chris Young. Perez retired, one gone in the third. Well, that Tampa team, you're right. They don't nearly have the offense the Tigers do, but the guys that they do have in the lineup, their big hitters are really off to slow starts. Longoria is off to a slow start.
Longoria probably will not get a whole lot to hit this year, being the main factor in that lineup.
Here is Anthony Gose, who got it started with a double in the first inning. And Gose sends a ground ball foul first base side.
Yeah, there's another one of those slow breaking balls thrown by Tanaka at just 72 miles per hour. He is only 5 of 10 in first pitch strikes so far here today, but once he's fallen behind, he's been able to throw a quality pitch to get himself even into the count, only to get to those breaking balls that have kept the Tigers off balance for the most part through the first 2 innings.
Bender is in for a strike. Well, Tanaka really had nothing more to prove in Japan. He played there for 7 seasons, won 99 games, and lost only 35. And had an ERA just a little bit over 2. Here's the 0-2. Got him. Strike 3. Ghost caught looking.
He's dealing right now. He's got that little swing back fastball that he kind of starts right at the right hip of the left-handed batter, and they give up on it. And look at the action on that pitch. I mean, that ball gets all the way back to the center of the plate.
And that'll be the 4th strikeout for Tanaka. Kinsler's just flat out had bad luck in this series. He has had hard hit ball after hard hit ball. Had another one in the first inning that he hit right back up the middle, but the second baseman Stephen Drew was right there to play the carom off the glove of Tanaka and throw him out. Here's the 1-0. Ian takes a strike, 1-1. Fourth in the American League currently is Ian Kinsler, and runs scored with 12 so far this year. Bouncing ball left side of the infield. Gregorius on the charge. Nice running scoop. It'll be a 1-2-3 inning for Masahiro Tanaka. Let's go to the 4th. Cold one to look forward to. Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Well, so far, Rod, I think the early returns on Sanchez have been much better than last start.
Well, I think the adjustment that was made in between starts has worked very well for him. He's not having a difficult time of getting the ball down in the strike zone, whether it be his four-seam fastball or the assortment of off-speed pitches that he features.
Ryan McCann flied out to right field his last at bat. And there's a strike from Sanchez.
So he gets it at a really nice balanced position, which allows the arm to catch up and buries that breaking ball down.
One ball, one strike.
I also like the pace that Sanchez is working with here today. Looks like the pace is a lot quicker. We can barely get a replay in here today.
I agree with that 100%.
I dare he get in the way of my work here this afternoon.
Here's the one ball, one strike pitch, and it's outside.
You like that? Yeah, it's all about you, Rod.
Yeah, it is. You've come to know that. I'm just joking. Yeah, replay technician Mark Dorsey down there really has very little opportunity to cue those things up and show them to you.
Yeah.
Sanchez working so quickly. Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss.
Ooh, nice pitch. Outstanding pitch. Change piece. Butterfly is what he calls his changeup.
Bouncing ball right into the teeth of that shift. Uh-oh. Castellanos just got it. He bobbled it, but stayed with it. One out. That'll bring up Chase Headley. Headley a strikeout in the second. And again, Sanchez gets ahead 0-1. There's that shift that they employ against Headley. So it's really back-to-back hitters that Castellanos stays out there in right field. Low, one ball, one strike. Headley back in 2012 had a season to remember. He knocked in 115. Led the National League that year as a member of the Padres. And there was some thought that, man, after that kind of year, this guy's going to really take off. He hasn't really approached those numbers since.
And he put up those numbers in a ballpark that's really not all that hitter-friendly, Petco Park.
True. He finished 5th in the NL MVP voting that year. His season was so good. There you go. They're the numbers since. Wave and a miss. 2-2 on Chase Headley. You see that 115 RBIs in 2012, and then less than half each the next 2 years.
Even though he had 243 with 13 homers and 49 RBIs last year, he was able to parlay that into a 4-year contract.
Well, and I'm assuming his defensive abilities had something to do with that as well. But a 4-year deal is pretty good with numbers that were just kind of so-so.
Well, offense is really down in baseball last 5 years or so.
Swing and a miss. Boy, Sanchez with another strikeout, his 4th.
Oh, he's absolutely filthy today with the Ephus off-speed pitch there to get the strikeout. Ephus changeup.
Well, with 2 outs, it brings us to the Bernstein advantage, the pitcher-batter matchup, and career against Sanchez. Chris Young just 2 for 14, so Moneyball has had the Bernstein advantage, although Young had a single against him in his last at-bat. And he starts him off with a strike on the inside part of the plate.
Everything that Sanchez is throwing up there today has been really sharp. The ball is coming out of his hand nicely this afternoon.
Young now with 7 hits in this series. And he looks at ball 1 outside. Chris spent the first 7 years of his career over in the National League with the Diamondbacks. The 1-1. Talking about him last night and how the Mets signed him to a one-year deal last year and decided in August, you know what, we don't think it's going to work here, and they released him. Yankees picked him up, did good work, and earned a contract for this year. The 2-1 pitch. He went around 2-2.
Mets off to a really good start despite going through some early season injuries.
How about that? I mean, Terry Collins has them playing some ball right now.
They lost their closer to PED suspension. David Wright, their third baseman, on the disabled list.
They've won 10 straight and lead the National League East. Terry Collins, the skipper of the Mets, former Eastern Michigan star from Midland, Michigan. Here's the 2-2. Did he go? Yes, he did. See you later. 5 strikeouts for Sanchez. It's a 1-2-3 fourth inning.
His stuff today is electric.
And it's great to see. Sanchez bouncing back beautifully today. 1-0 Detroit. Things off for the Tigers here in the fourth, and it brings us to our T-Mobile game changer. And Miguel's going to be on a pretty impressive list here along with Alex Rodriguez. These are the most consecutive seasons with 25 or more homers and 100 or more RBIs. Miggy has done it 11 campaigns. A-Rod has done it 13 times. Now Tanaka goes back to work here in the bottom of the fourth. Cabrera walked in the first inning. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
A lot of slow breaking balls thrown by Tanaka, and we knew that would be his game plan coming in after Sabathia and Eovaldi. A couple of starters for the New York Yankees were very successful doing so in their starts in this series.
High fly ball, right center field. It's Young coming over, staring into the cloudy sky, and makes the catch. One gone. It appears, Rod, that Mr. Tanaka has settled in.
You know, he's keeping the Tigers off balance. That first pitch, slow breaking ball to Miguel, then he comes back with an 88-mile-per-hour fastball to tie Miggy up, and he's, for the most part, been able to keep most of these Tigers hitters off balance today.
Here's Martinez. He is responsible for the game's only run. Sacrifice fly. That happened in the first inning. Scoring Anthony Gose. Victor shoots one the other way.
There's been a lot of talk about the velocity of Tanaka, who was touching 95 last year, but pretty much pitched at 93, 94. He's gotten up to 91. Maybe he's touched 92 today, but it's not that much of a difference.
I don't know. It's just amazing to me that a guy can pitch at this level with a slight tear of ligament in his elbow. Here's the 0-1. Again, he goes the other way, this time just barely foul.
Well, here's how good Tanaka was when he came stateside from Japan. 18 starts, he was 12-4 with an outstanding earned run average, but after that, a DL stint which lasted from July 9th through the 21st of September, you could see the numbers and the confidence level not very good for Tanaka.
Bouncing ball right into the shift. And Martinez is gone. 2 away. That's 10 straight retired by Tanaka.
Well, you got a couple of pitchers on top of their games once again here today. Sanchez has matched Tanaka and pretty much pitch for pitch.
And that's why it's just a 1-0 score here this afternoon. Here's J.D. Martinez. And J.D. looks at a breaking ball outside. Tigers had a decision to make toward the end of spring camp whether or not to keep Tyler Collins or carry the two guys that can play the multiple positions in Romine and Perez. And I think we're seeing why they decided to go the way they did, because really Brad has run the same guys out there every night, it seems. You know, Martinez starting in right field, Cespedes in left.
It's kind of hard not to run them out there, especially guys that are so productive and have gotten off to really good starts.
Yeah, there just would not have been a whole lot of advance for Tyler Collins.
He's better served being down in Toledo where he gets a chance to play every day.
The 1-1. He did give you that interesting, intriguing thing, though, off the bench, and that's the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Right.
And you always like to have that fear factor sitting on the bench for the opposing manager to consider. There are the numbers on Tanaka. He's reached a total of 50.
Only stress that he has pitched in today was in the first inning when the Tigers were able to push across 1 run.
Two and 2 on Martinez. Cespedes waiting on deck. JD is one of the 4 strikeout victims for Masahiro Tanaka today. Just off the plate. 3-2.
It's not so much throwing 95 miles an hour. If you throw 90 like Tanaka does, and you've got the fastballs that are moving east to west in the strike zone with a cutter and a sinker, then you got the 4-seamer as well.
Driven deep to left field. That ball is up against the wall. On his way to second. Martinez has a double.
Boy, does the ball make a loud sound coming off J.D. Martinez's bat. Didn't get underneath this one enough. It's a little cement mixer, a breaking ball that it doesn't get to the area that Tanaka wants it in. J.D. Martinez nearly hit it out.
Two-out, 2-base hit. That'll stop the string of 10 straight retired. And here is Yoenis Cespedes. He flied out his first time up to left field.
Yoenis Cespedes is off to a really nice start this year, batting .317. He already has 9 extra base hits.
have only had 3 hits in this game, 2 now for the Tigers and only 1 for the Yankees.
Tanaka this year, Cespedes this year has done a much better job once he's fallen behind the pitchers as far as the batting average is concerned. Last year he hit under 200, which was one of the worst in baseball for guys that had a minimum of 200 plate appearances. This year he's among the best of a batting average, closing in on 500 when he's behind in the count.
.24 behind in the count this year, as he is right now. 0-2. Swing and a miss. Tanaka got him that time. Tigers will strand a 2-out double, and we go to the 5th inning at Comerica.
His delivery. Take a look here at the knee area. You can see this is the left when he gave up a home run last time out. Actually, he's getting up quite a few home runs, but the knee much more turned toward the outfield today. And as a result of that, his pitches have much more action on them because the body's been able to catch up. Doesn't allow the arm to get on top. And look at the action on the changeup, on the curveball, on the changeup. Everything much, much better today for Sanchez. Everything down in the bottom of the strike zone as a result of getting to a much more balanced position this afternoon.
Doesn't take much, does it?
No, it does not. Just a little slight tweak.
Yeah, a minor tweak indeed, and he has tweaked his way to a pretty good ball game today, allowing just 1 hit. Garrett Jones will lead things off, then Drew and Gregorius, 7, 8, 9 for the Yankees. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss.
Sanchez, his delivery is all about deception. I mean, as a hitter, you can basically see his number turn towards you when he gets to that position, and then all of a sudden he hides the baseball very well, and it's tough to pick up.
Line toward left field, right at Cespedes. Jones is out.
This also bodes very well for you when you've got the kind of stuff that Sanchez has. 11 of 12 in first pitch strikes today, and he's gone 8 of 8 in the last 8 batters.
Now Stephen Drew with 1 out. Sanchez now up to 70 total pitches, 43 strikes. A little bit high, 1 ball, no strikes. Drew batting just 186. He's hit 4 home runs, including a pinch hit grand slam home run against Baltimore earlier this year. to get back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike.
This time last year, Stephen Drew didn't even have a job.
No.
He was a free agent going into the 2014 season, and there were no takers until what, about June or July?
June, I think it was, yeah. If Gregorius stumbles and shows that he can't handle a position on a daily basis, that is red foul. Do you think Drew might be able to just slide that right into that spot?
Oh, yeah, he can handle the position for sure.
I mean, he's a terrific defender, but there's got to be one eye on that if Gregorius can't do it. They've got Drew playing second base, but he is known for his glove. Here's the 1-2. Fouled straight back. Gregorius waiting on deck.
As a hitter, when a guy's on top of his game as Sanchez is today, you're pretty much at his mercy with 2 strikes because he has a lot of confidence in everything he's featuring today so far.
Got him, strike 3. The confidence continues to grow. 6 strikeouts for Anaheim.
And Drew didn't like that call by the home plate umpire, Phil Cuzzy. They're still having words.
Oh, here comes Girardi to make sure he didn't get thrown out of the game because Cuzzy started following him back to the dugout.
I guess Steven must have thought that it was low.
2 up, 2 down. Here is Gregorius. Didi walked, stole a base, did not score back in the 3rd. And really the best scoring opportunity they had runners in 2nd and 3rd. But a strikeout of Beltran ended that frame. In there, 1 ball, 1 strike. On a chilly afternoon here in the Motor City, the temperature in the low 30s. Sanchez is dealing today. The 1-1 is sliced in the air to center field.
Ghost had him played perfectly.
And he hauls it in for a 1-2-3 inning. 8 straight retired by Sanchez. Certainly Tanaka is holding up his end of the deal. He has gone 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, and 5 strikeouts in this game. Hey, it's April in the D on Fox Sports Detroit. Join us again tonight, round 1, game 4 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Red Wings host the Lightning. Our coverage begins at 6 with Red Wings Live. That's Red Wings Lightning tonight at 6 p.m. on Fox Sports Detroit. Those folks probably headed to the Joe after this. Here's Tanaka back to work now. He will face Alex Avila, who looks at ball 1 low. Avila, Castellanos, and Perez. These are the 7, 8, 9 hitters for Detroit. Only 3 hits in this game between the 2 clubs. Tanaka's 1-0 pitch. Avila struck out swinging his first time up. Alex now 3 for 8 in the series. Had an RBI single in last night's game. And it missed inside. 2-1. Bouncing ball to first, just inside the bag. Jones picks it up. 1 up, 1 away. 60 now for Tanaka. Avila is 0 for 2. That'll bring up Nick Castellanos. Nick also a strikeout back in the second. Lifted in the air to center field. Ellsbury ranging to his left, and there are 2 gone. Aside from the double by J.D. Martinez last inning, Tigers have had nothing going on versus Tanaka since the first.
Some awkward swings as well against Tanaka. A good slider, good curveball, good splitter. He's moved his fastball around the strike zone.
Here is Hernan Perez. Flat out to right field is only at bat. Perez had a nice year last year. Down in Toledo, was 4th in the International League in hits. Ended up with 53 RBIs.
And if you talk to the Toledo people, they say that he played a really nice shortstop last year in Toledo.
Here's the 0-1. For a while there in spring camp, it looked like it was either going to be Perez or Romine. And as we mentioned earlier, in the end, both of them made the club.
Well, both guys were out of options. And the Tigers most certainly would have lost Perez had they tried to send him down to the minor league. Someone would have claimed him off waivers. And they did not want to run the risk of possibly losing Romine.
Tigers asked both of those guys to become more versatile, so they played more positions in spring training, including catching. Here's the 1-2. Ground ball, third base side, foul.
That is something that I just refused to do. Put that catching
gear
on. Nope,
ever?
Wouldn't do it.
Little League, how about that? No?
Not even Little League.
How about T-ball?
Just wouldn't do it. Even when I wasn't playing and they needed somebody to go warm up the pitcher, I wouldn't go do it.
How about coach pitch? You never did it?
Well, they may have a chance.
It's like being a goaltender in hockey, a catcher in baseball. There's a certain amount of punishment that goes with those positions. And again, the 1-2. Lifted back out of play down the right field line.
I started my broadcast career out in Arizona, and I used to work with the Hall of Famer, Joe Garagiola Sr., and he used to call the catcher's gear the tools of intelligence, whereas everybody else calls them the tools of ignorance.
Yeah. Let me get this straight. You played football in high school, but you wouldn't catch.
Would not catch.
What position you playing football?
Tight end.
So you wouldn't mind a linebacker crushing you, but you never wanted to catch.
Never catch.
2-2. Perez batting here. We're in the bottom of the fifth. 1-0. Tigers have the lead. They scored their run in the first. And so far has held up because of Sanchez. And again, the 2-2. This one is put in play to deep center field. Ellsbury going back, still going back, edge of the warning track to pull it in. Ball was crushed, but not deep enough. On our way to the sixth.
I am supposed to, as if I am coming back to be a major league pitcher. And that is my goal, to come back and pitch again. But more importantly, the rehab will be good for the rest of my life anyway. It's something I need to do to get strong again and you know, to be able to play catch with my kid, play golf, whatever I'm going to do. But I am preparing myself to come back and be a major league player again.
Well, Joe Nathan has been down this road before. This will be his second Tommy John surgery, and you know all the story by now. He was removed from his rehab start or appearance yesterday in AAA Toledo. Felt what he had turned was a pop, and then they had an MRI done, and lo and behold, he's going to need Tommy John again, Rod.
It's unfortunate. We talked about it a little earlier in the broadcast, the fact that Joe worked so hard in the offseason to come back and to prove to Tigers fans that he was much, much better than the way that he pitched last year.
In the meantime, we go to the sixth inning here. It is 1-0 in favor of the Tigers, and Sanchez facing Ellsbury, Gardner, and Beltran. Top three in the lineup for the Yanks. Anibal so far has given up just one hit, and that was to Chris Young, a single in the second.
He has such great command today with everything that he's throwing. He doesn't have to throw a fastball here to Ellsbury in this 2-1 count.
In there, a strike, and it's 2-2 on Jacoby.
And he decided to throw on the changeup that landed in the strike zone beautifully.
Brett Gardner waiting on deck. Half swing goes foul.
You see swings like that when you have a hitter up there that is looking for something off speed with two strikes, and he happens to get a fastball. He was lucky to get a piece of it.
Little looper back at third, slicing foul. A couple of feet outside of the line and out of the reach of Castellanos.
That play right there is one of the toughest plays for a third baseman to make, running away from the play. Back turn to the action.
Sanchez has retired a total of 8 straight. They have not had a base runner since the walk to Ellsbury in the 3rd. There's another ball that goes foul.
And best fastball tonight thrown at 93. And we thank Xfinity for those readings on the fastball and the curveball of Anibal Sanchez.
Full count now on Ellsbury.
Another one of those eephus pitches at 72 that he missed with. You don't want to walk Ellsbury.
And they will. Ball 4. Leadoff man is on. Let's check in with John Keating, who's at the Joe Louis Arena with a Magic Windows game break. All right, Keats, thanks. I love 90%. That sounds pretty good. Good luck to the Wings tonight at the Joe. Here's Brett Gardner now, the tying run on.
Castellanos is playing in about 10 steps from third base, but if you're Joe Girardi, the manager of the Yankees, you do not have to bunt Gardner here, not with Ellsbury on first base, and we gave you some numbers on Sanchez and the fact that he doesn't do a very good job at shutting down the running game. So I'd be shocked if they kind of give away an out here.
Right. Agreed. Gregorius stole it back in the 3rd, which set up a scoring chance. Gardner is 0 for 2. No sign of bunt, and it's in there for a strike. Waiting on deck, Carlos Beltran. One ball and 1 strike. Gardner hit a hard ground ball his last time up that Miggy made a terrific play on. Yankees have him locked up through 2018, and the Yankees also have a club option for 19 on Brett Gardner. So left field and center field are locked up for a few years, along with Ellsbury. The 1-1. Outside, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Tony Pena is the first base coach these days for the New York Yankees, and you can see he's got that stopwatch in his right hand. He is timing Anibal and how long it takes for him to get the ball to home plate to decide whether Jacoby Ellsbury can successfully steal second or not.
There he goes. Avila's throw. It's high and a stolen base.
Well, he was about 1-5 earlier in the game when there was a stolen base against him, and he was probably about 1-5 right there. Ellsbury didn't even get a great jump and didn't need to have a great jump, and Avila really had no shot at throwing him out. And Chevrolet brings you the high-strength steal of the game. Jacoby Ellsbury successfully stealing second.
So the tying run in scoring position with nobody out. 2-2 the count on Brett Gardner. And he backed him out of there. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sanchez has walked 3 in this game. He's fallen behind Gardner. Tigers got a run in the first and nothing since for either club. Here's the 3-2. pulled on the ground and backhanded by Cabrera. That'll move the runner up. Gardner is out. It's the second time he's had a hard hit ball to the first baseman. Hey, this Sunday is Kids Day when the Tigers take on the Indians in 108, and all kids 14 and under receive a free poster featuring David Price and his dog Astro. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
Astro.
He is a fine-looking pooch. Tying run at third now with one out, and here is Carlos Beltran. Sanchez will throw from the windup. Ball one inside.
And Tigers on the infield conceding the run with Jacoby Ellsbury, the base runner, at third base. He'll be coming on contact.
That's in for a strike. 1-1 on Beltran.
And Beltran up there sitting on something soft, and Sanchez recognized that through the fastball right down the middle. He has thrown so many off-speed pitches today. That's exactly what Beltran is hoping that he gets.
Alex Wilson, just joining the ball club today, is warming up in the Detroit bullpen. 2-1 on Beltran.
Beltran still sitting on the soft stuff.
A couple of hits in yesterday's ball game, had a triple to drive in a run. Beltran has had a rough day today. A couple of strikeouts against Sanchez. Here's the 2-1. Ripped foul right by first base. Sanchez now is approaching the 100 marker. He's sitting at 97 with Brian McCann waiting on deck. Swing and a miss. A 3-strikeout day for Carlos Beltran. Big one there for Sanchez.
Just a really good pitch by Sanchez, and the fact that he had the confidence to bury that changeup at the bottom of the strike zone, knowing that Avila would get dirty and block it for him.
That'll be the 7th strikeout of the game now for Sanchez, and that brings up McCann, who has a ground ball and a fly out. They want a walk, but it doesn't look like they're going to get it. The on-deck hitter, Chase Headley, was calling for a balk there. And now they are going to call a balk, it appears, because Jacoby Ellsbury was bluffing down the line, and they will give him home plate. Here comes Brad Ausmus.
Took a long time for Jerry Davis, a third base umpire, to call the balk, but eventually he did.
Well, what a big play that is. That's going to tie the game. The balk was not initially called, and then the Yankees started beefing, and all of a sudden they gave Ellsbury home plate.
I'm not quite sure I've seen where the hitter who was getting ready to stand in the batter's box in the on-deck circle basically called the balk.
Pretty much. That was Headley who pointed his bat out to third, yelling balk. That's a balk. Oh, and now Brad's been thrown out of the game by Davis. Brad had some parting words, and he's been ejected. Well, if you're going to get tossed out, you might as well really let him know what you think.
Well, Brad is saying exactly what we just mentioned, the fact that you're going to let these guys call the balk for you.
It sure seemed that way. Ausmus has been ejected from the ball game. Jerry Davis has thrown him out.
And that's clearly a balk.
Oh, no doubt. You have no doubt. That's clear as day right there.
He started his motion toward home plate, then he stepped off at third base, and then he still threw the ball home.
But why did it take so long to call that balk? Here's the whole thing. Nothing yet, nothing yet. And now they call the ball.
I guess it took a little while for it to Jerry Davis to process it.
So in the meantime, the Tigers have lost the lead and their manager. Ausmus has been thrown out of the game. Here's McCann, and he watches one bounce in, 1-0. A walk, a steal, a ground out advances him, and he scores on a balk by Sanchez. And really rarely do you see a runner bluffing down the line like that have the type of effect it had on Hannibal. Ellsbury at third base made a break down the line, then stopped, and then Sanchez balked.
You don't expect it out of Sanchez, a guy that's a veteran pitcher, a guy that's been on the mound for a lot of innings.
Popped him up. Long run for Perez. Hernan is going to get there. Nice play. However, the Yankees have tied it up on the block, and we go to the bottom of the sixth. Are controlling this contest.
Man, they really are. It's a very cold afternoon here. The temperature right around 33, 34. You would think that there would not be a lot of offense, which there isn't. And you've got a couple of guys that are on top of their games, and Tanaka and Sanchez.
So Tanaka goes back to the hill. His teammates have gotten him a run now, and there's Gene Lamont to will assume the reins of the Tigers, and Brad Ausmus ejected from this contest. Tanaka has retired 14 of the last 15 he has seen. And Ghost will get it started now here in the bottom of the sixth. He shows bunts.
Something that Ghost hasn't done a lot of this year. He has not bunted, nor has he really needed to, because he's been getting on base efficiently by putting the ball in play by swinging the bat.
Here's the 1-0 pitch, and it's high. 2 balls, no strikes. Ghost got the Tigers started very early in this game, had a 2-base hit in the first inning, and then scored on the sac fly by Martinez later in the frame.
And Ghost is going to get a fastball right down the middle here. The only question is, does he take a strike or not?
Nope, he's going to swing and shoot it foul down the left field line. Gardner coming over. He can't quite get it. He was reaching toward the stands, and it bounced away.
Good thing that fan did not reach into play there, as that ball was in the first row. He just missed out.
Yeah, he did. Got a lot closer now. Oh, look out, the beer. You see that beer go flying?
It flew all over him.
All over everybody. Two and one. Ghost looks at a ball high, and the count goes to 3-1. The Tigers trying to get their leadoff man on here in the sixth. Kinsler waiting on deck.
Tanaka's only walked one in the game, and that one was by design when he walked Miguel Cabrera back in the first inning.
Swing and a miss. Fastball at 91 from Tanaka, and it's 3-2 on Ghost.
Yeah, Ghost just a little tardy on that fastball at 91, swung right underneath it.
Here's the 3-2. Ghost fouls it off. Still only 3 hits in this game. The Tigers have 2 of them. The Yankees have only a single from Chris Young. But they got a walk, a steal, a ground out, and a balk to score a run to tie this game. It hasn't taken much. Swing and a miss, and down goes Ghost. Another strikeout for Tanaka. Hey, Saturday, May 9th, the Tigers face the Royals at 1:08. Be sure to arrive early for the special pregame on-field clinic hosted by the Tigers players and coaches. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. Always a great day at the ballpark. Learn from the pros. Here's Kinsler. 6 Tanaka strikeouts. Ian pops it up foul, back out of play. Tanaka last year made the All-Star team along with Dellin Betances. And they became the first pair of Yankees rookies to make the All-Star team ever. The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the 1-1. Grounded foul, 1-2 on Kinsler.
Tanaka has thrown a total of 78 pitches. 45% of those have been fastballs. We told you 5 days ago against Tampa, 56% of his pitches were fastballs, but you knew he would change against the Tigers. Tigers have a much better offense than the Tampa Bay Rays do. A lot more off-speed pitches to Tigers hitters today.
2-2 on Kinsler. 15 of the last 16 have gone down against Tanaka.
Pitching with a 10% tear in his right elbow. Elected not to have surgery.
Here's the 2-2. Fouled away by Kinsler.
That had to be a huge question mark for the Yankees going into spring training, whether Tanaka would hold up or not.
Well, yes, like we mentioned earlier, I'm sure they were holding their breath with every single start. And in some ways, maybe continue to do so. But this Yankees rotation has really taken some hits the last couple of years. And they've got some talent. Again, the 2-2. Pulled foul. We talk about CeCe, who had the knee surgery, Tanaka with the elbow, Pineda with a shoulder, and the Tommy John for Nova. And those are really good big league pitchers.
Yeah.
Every team eventually deals with injuries. It's the severity and the number that really make a difference sometimes.
Yeah, Tigers are dealing with a couple right now. Justin Verlander, Joe Nathan, Bruce Rondon.
blown away. The latest word on Rondon is incremental improvements. So apparently that's going a little bit slower than they had hoped for. But Bruce joining this bullpen at any time this season could certainly be a big boost. Little chopper toward third, foul. And this is becoming a pretty good battle here for Kinsler.
And Tanaka has thrown Kinsler every single pitch that he has. The cutter, the two-seamer, the curve, the split. He's even elevated a four-seam fastball that Ian was able to lay off of earlier in the at-bat.
Here is the 9th pitch coming up in this at-bat. Down the right field line in foul ground. Is there room? There is for Garrett Jones. He holds on for out number 2. Hey, Saturday, Major League Baseball returns to Fox Sports 1, starting with an AL Central battle. The Indians take on your Tigers in a game you can see only on Fox Sports 1. That is the return of the Subway Series. Yankees and Mets. Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern on America's home for baseball every Saturday. Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Here is Cabrera with 2 outs. Miggy skies one in the air to right field. Hit pretty good, but it will stay in the park as Young camps under it, and the Tigers go 1-2-3 here in the 6th inning. Anibal Sanchez heading back out for the 7th. He's been brilliant today. It's been a good one if you like pitching, and both Tanaka and Sanchez have been on point in this one today.
And Sanchez is already over the century mark as far as pitches thrown, so he's got one more inning in this game if he's able to get through the 7th.
Chase Headley will start things off. Headley has struck out twice against Sanchez, and he takes ball 1 outside. 246 batting average now for Headley, and 4 for 14 in the series. 1 ball, 1 strike. Make it 2-1. Action in the Detroit bullpen. Tom Corzolani is warming up. Sanchez was 7 strikeouts today, had a 12 strikeout game last August against Colorado. He's falling behind here, 3-1. Headley looks at a ball inside, ball 4, leadoff man on for the second straight frame. It's going to be 4 walks now for Anibal. Just missed the top of the strike zone, according to Phil Cuzzi. So now here's Young. And the Yankees, here we are in the 7th inning, and they still have only 1 hit, and that belongs to this batter right here, Young. That was a single back in the 2nd. That's all they've had. And Young loops it foul, back out of play.
Sanchez, however, looking for a ground ball here. He's already at 107 in the pitch department and doesn't have many pitches left.
Again, Gene Lamont right now is taking over the club with Brad Ausmus ejected in the 6th inning. Here's the 0-1. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Brad came out and argued a late balk call by Jerry Davis at third base. And it was a big balk call because it scored the tying run. Big rip there by Young, and now the count is 1-2.
If you're looking for that ground ball, you've got to get the ball at the bottom of the strike zone. The pitches that he's thrown to Chris Young so far have been up in the zone.
And a ball averaging about 92 per game. He's at over 100, 109 now. Here's the 1-2. 2-2 on Young.
Better location there. That will get you a ground ball if you work at the bottom of the strike zone.
Garrett Jones waiting on deck. Swing and a miss. Young down on strikes. That'll be 8 of them now for Sanchez. Tied him up and in. Here is Garrett Jones. Jones has put the ball on the ground once. And there is strike 1. A lot of room on the left side of the infield. Jones spent 5 years with the Pirates and put up really good numbers there in terms of power numbers. Went to the Marlins and now with the Yankees. Double-digit homers in all 6 years that he's been in the major leagues. Hasn't homered this year. Right now the Tiger is in search of a ground ball here. Avila goes down to try and block it, but this will advance the runner. Now the go-ahead run in scoring position. A wild pitch charged to Sanchez. Now with a runner at second, Castellanos is going to have to come over and cover third base. Meanwhile, Gene Lamont making his way out to the mound.
They're going to make a pitching change.
With a 1 ball, 1 strike count. They have signaled to the bullpen, and the Tigers will be making a pitching change here.
Anibal Sanchez has thrown 113 pitches.
So he'll get a nice round of applause as he walks off the field. It'll be a wall side windows pitching change, and we'll be back. So Tom Gorzolani will take over for the Tigers now. A 1-1 count on Garrett Jones. With a runner at second and one out. We're in the seventh inning of a 1-1 tie.
And Garrett Jones 3 for 9 in his career against Tom Gorzolani, a .333 batting average.
Sixth appearance for Gorzolani. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the left-handed batting Garrett Jones. Stephen Drew will be next. Tigers trying to strand this runner at second base. A walk to Chase Headley. Wild pitch advanced him. Here's the 1-2. Gorzolani stays away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jones in his career has not hit lefties all that well, under 200. Swing and a miss. Gorzolani comes out of the pen to record the strikeout. 9 of them now for Tigers pitching today.
He threw Garrett Jones a couple of really slow breaking balls, about 75 miles an hour. Then he came back with a 90-mile-per-hour fastball that may have looked like it was about 100 to Garrett.
So with 2 outs, here is Stephen Drew. Going to be up to the Tigers bullpen now. Sanchez going 6 1/3. Drew is 0 for 2 when he takes a ball outside 1-0.
Elevated pitch count this afternoon for Sanchez. He was a little wild. He walked 4 and he struck out 8. And even though he only gave up 1 hit, that's going to pile your pitch count up.
Swing Swing and a miss, 1-1 on Drew.
Yeah, this is what they got Gorzelani for. These types of situations, going up against left-handed batters with runners in scoring position late in the game.
Strikeout, ground out for Drew. He's got 8 RBIs this year. Now Gorzelani with the 1-1. Just missed, 2 balls, 1 strike. Drew has a home run in the series. Otherwise 2 for 8 overall. Gregorius waiting on deck for the Yankees. Here's the 2-1. 3-1, and the left-handed batting Drew. Tigers signed Gorzelani as a free agent in January this year to help bolster the bullpen from the left side. 3-1 pitch. And he lost it, ball 4. That's going to be the 5th walk for Tigers pitching.
It's going to get Mark Teixeira off their bench to pinch hit for Didi Gregorius.
Teixeira's had himself a pretty good series. He's had some big hits, homer to the first game, 3-run shot in the ball game last night. And while he's batting just .204, he's knocked in 13, comes up in a big spot here against Gorzelani.
If you're Gorzelani, you don't necessarily have to give in to Mark Teixeira in this situation. You still have a base open. That base might be third base, but it's open. You've got the left-handed Jacoby Ellsbury in the on-deck circle. Ellsbury hasn't driven in many runs this year.
Only 1, as a matter of fact. And Teixeira looks at a strike, 0-1. Yankees have 1 hit. That's all they've been able to muster today. But again, the Tiger staff has issued 5 walks.
And Joe Girardi picked the right spot for one of his bigger bats that did not start the game today. Teixeira, a situation where he thinks he might get some pitches to hit.
Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Yankees have won 2 of the first 3 in the series. They've had a successful road trip regardless of what happens here today. That's inside, and the count goes to 2-1.
Nice little bonding trip for the boys right out of the gate.
Tigers have one of those coming up beginning Monday.
11-day road trip. Guys can go to dinner, hang out a little bit, get comfortable with one another.
Here's the 2-1. 3-1, and Teixeira. So Gorzelani now is 1 pitch away from giving Teixeira first base and facing that guy there, Jacoby Ellsbury.
Well, he's going to make him hit his pitch, and I think Avila now is going to go out and remind him that third base is open. So if you walk him, no issues, no problem.
Wilson warming up again in the Detroit bullpen.
And Wilson was in the Yoenis Cespedes deal that came from Boston in the Porcello trade.
He was called up today. Ian Kroll was sent down. Here's the 3-1. He'll take a swing at it and send it high in the air to right field. J.D. Martinez going back. He'll run it down to the warning track. So they threaten to the Yankees, but they do not score. Strand a couple of runners, and coming up is the Dick Scott Automotive 7th inning stretch.
has been outstanding in the game. He's only given up 2 hits, and for the most part, he has kept the Tigers off balance with a mixture of fastballs, cutters, and slow split-fingered fastballs. He's also mixed in some really nice slow curveballs. So he's been on top of his game. Second consecutive really good start for Tanaka.
Here are the changes for the Yankees. Drew will move over to short. Gregorio Petit comes in to play second base. Teixeira stays in the game, and he will play first. So the Tigers now coming up here in the bottom of the 7th in a 1-1 tie. Victor Martinez will lead it off. It'll be Martinez, then JD, and then Yoenis Cespedes. Tanaka just 85 pitches so far. He goes back to work. Sac fly for Victor Martinez, knocking in a run in the first inning against Tanaka, and that's been it. Still only 3 hits in this game between the two teams. Here's the 0-1. Bouncing ball right side. Petit in the outfield grass. And Victor is out. 1 away here in the 7th. See if JD can put a charge into one here.
He put a charge into one his last time up. He got himself a hanging slider on a 3-2 pitch from Tanaka and nearly hit it out to left.
Doubled in the 4th on that ball that he hit hard to left field. And he drives one again to left. That ball is going to get down and go to the wall. Extra bases again for JD Martinez. He will cruise into second, and the Tigers have a 1-out double. A pair of 2-base hits today for JD.
Yeah, Tanaka's fooling a lot of the Tiger hitters here today, but JD Martinez not one. First pitch swinging at the first pitch that he gets. A little breaking ball that really doesn't do a whole lot. Actually, it was a splitter that didn't tumble at all.
So here is Cespedes trying to give his team the lead. Yoenis has 13 RBIs, which leads the Tigers. That is the 3rd Detroit hit of the game. And Cespedes watches it bounce in. Good stop there by McCann to hold the runner at second. .467 this year with men in scoring position. Tanaka had retired 17 of 18 before that double by Martinez. Low. 2 balls, no strikes. Tanaka's 2-0 is popped up first base side, back out of play. 2-1.
If you're Yoenis Cespedes and you get yourself in a 2-0 count, you're looking for the fastball, but you can't leave the strike zone. This one might have been a tail inside. This ball tailed in off the plate, but Cespedes still tried to get to it.
There is activity in the bullpen for the Yankees. Wilson and Betances. Two and one on Cespedes, who is currently 5th in the American League in RBIs. Nelson Cruz leads the way with 17. Here's the 2-1. Driven foul, back out of play. 2-2 now on Cespedes.
may be the best fastballs that Tanaka has thrown here today. 93 miles an hour.
Reaching back here in the 7th in a 1-1 game. Alex Avila waiting on deck. J.D. Martinez has just doubled with 1 out. Low. 3-2.
And Yoenis Cespedes really likes the ball down and in. He likes it right down the middle, also up and away. Up and in, doesn't necessarily like it.
I wonder if there are any cold zones right down the middle.
I don't think so.
Probably not.
Those guys are sitting at the crib on the couch.
If they got a big blue box in the middle.
Yeah. At the house.
Here's the 3-2. And he lost in ball 4. Cespedes is on with a walk.
Good at bat by Yoenis.
That is only the 2nd walk of the game for Tanaka. Joe Girardi coming out.
Well, does the Tigers counter here with a pinch hitter?
It's going to be it for Tanaka. They have the lefty warming up. Ball side windows pitching change. We'll be back to Comerica Park.
Kobe Ellsbury led off the 6th with a base on balls. Then he was on 3rd base and he bluffed a steal of home. Anibal Sanchez was in the windup, and instead of completing the windup, he simply stepped off and threw the ball home, which prompted a balk call, and Brad Ausmus was kicked out of the game.
Well, the Tigers have made a move now. Gene Lamont will send up a pinch hitter for Alex Avila with the lefty Wilson coming into the ball game.
Well, if you're McCann, you need to get ready to hit the fastball. That's what you do as a pinch hitter when you come off the bench cold, and the fact that Wilson has got a pretty good arm. We saw him a couple days ago. His fastball gets up into the mid-90s.
McCann for Avila. Ball 1 to McCann. Here are the numbers on the left-hander, Justin Wilson.
And Justin's off to a sluggish start. The ERA is a shade over 5. He's been in 7 games already for the Yankees.
That is in for a strike, and the count goes 1-1 on McCann, who collected his first triple. That was back on Sunday against the White Sox. got a couple of runners on now. J.D. Martinez and Yoenis Cespedes in a 1-1 tie in the 7th. McCann hits it down the third baseline. Headley, great play to second, and he's out at second base.
Boy, did Headley get bailed out by the second baseman, Petit.
I thought that ball was going to go into right field.
Outstanding play by Chase Headley. He took a double away from James McCann. That ball whistled down the third baseline. A dive, he gets to his feet, but a poor throw to Petit, and that prevented them from turning the double play.
And they just got the out at second base as well. Joe Girardi coming out again. So with runners at first and third, Castellanos coming up. Dylan Betances now will be summoned into this ball game. So it's 1-1. Runners to the corners. We'll be back.
And Tiger saw him on Tuesday. He pitched 1 inning. He had 2 strikeouts in that frame that he pitched in. He had an outstanding breaking ball that he was bearing at the bottom of the strike zone to get those 2 strikeouts.
Tigers have a 2-out chance here with runners at first and third, and it's going to be Nick Castellanos.
And Castellanos loves to swing at the first pitch, especially when they're fastballs. His batting average is .444 on first pitches.
That one sails high. 1 ball and no strikes on Nick. Double by Martinez, walk to Cespedes. Great play by Headley, saved a run. On the hard hit ball by McCann. Castellanos backs out and that ball drops in nicely. 1-1.
Yeah, Betances has about 95 to 97 as far as a fastball in his back pocket with the first 2 pitches. And to Castellanos, breaking balls.
Outside again, 2 balls, 1 strike. Hernan Perez lurking on deck. Tigers looking for a big knock here from Castellanos. Fouled away. Again, another off-speed pitch, and the count is 2-2 on Nick.
He hung that one too.
One run, 3 hits for the Tigers. 1 run, 1 hit for the Yankees. Yanks have left 5. Tigers have left 2. That bounces in, and McCann had to go down to block that. In fact, he left his crouch and stood up. 3-2.
That ball bounced about 3 feet in front of home plate. And it was such a bad pitch. It really made it a lot easier for McCann to block it and keep it in front of him.
Here's the 3-2. Popped up in the air, right side of the infield. Teixeira calling, and the threat is over. Tigers get a double and a walk, strand 2. Tigers baseball this afternoon, presented by Bell Tire.
It was a leadoff double by Ghost. Kinsler moved him over to third base with a ground out right back up the middle. Real patient at bat by Miggy, who walked. And he set the table for Victor to drive in a run with a sacrifice fly. The only run that the Yankees have scored came on a balk. And Jacoby Ellsbury was on third base and broke down the third baseline. And Anibal Sanchez was in his windup, stepped off, and then threw home, which prompted a ball call from Jerry Davis.
So as we go to the 8th inning, Tom Gorzelani is still in the ball game, and James McCann now will take over behind the plate after pinch hitting for Avila. Brett Gardner leads it off for the Yankees. Check it, Ellsbury rather, Jacoby Ellsbury. Then Gardner, and then number 3 hitter Beltran. Tigers pitching today is walked 5. They need to avoid those late in this contest. Big wave and a miss there by Jacoby.
They've walked a lot of batters in the series.
Yeah, they had they had 9 walks.
Yeah, came back with about 4 or 5 yesterday.
And Gorzelani ready with the 0-2. Here it is. Slice to left center field. Goes out the run. Still going. It's going to drop. Base hit.
It's a bad 0-2 pitch.
He's going to try for 2. Here's the throw to second. And not in time. It's a double for Jacoby Ellsbury.
You got to make a better 0-2 pitch than this pitch right here to Jacoby Ellsbury. It's up in the strike zone. And he is thinking double out of the batter's box, even though Ghost in center field has a very good arm and is very quick at getting to the baseball. Great hustle double by Jacoby Ellsbury.
Kinsler stayed with the tag in case of an overslide. And here's Brett Gardner now. Oh for 3 in this ball game. Bounced out his last 2 times up to the first baseman.
Yeah, you wonder if he'll be trying to bunt Ellsbury over here.
He is. Bunts it toward third. They'll let it roll foul. Zolani came on in the 7th inning. Gardner with 3 hits in the series. He has scored a couple of runs. Right now trying to advance a runner to third base. Here's the 0-1. Again showing bunt. This time he lays it down to first. That'll get the job done as Miggy tags him out and Ellsbury goes to third. 3 unassisted on the putout sacrifice, advancing the runner. Now a chance for Beltran to drive him in.
Well, you wonder if they'll simply walk the Beltran here and then play for 2 with the left-hander Brian McCann in the on-deck circle. That would be the wisest move.
And that's the move that they will do. So it'll be an intentional walk for Beltran. Setting up the lefty-lefty matchup with McCann waiting on deck. Six walks now for Tigers pitching, albeit this one intentional.
First intentional free pass of the season for Beltran.
First and third now, and that'll bring up McCann. Only 1 out.
Zero success for McCann.
Whoa.
Against Gorzolani.
And 0 might be an understatement. 0 for 16 with 4 strikeouts. Didn't look comfortable taking that pitch. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, if you're McCann, you may as well sit on one of those really slow breaking balls. If Gorzolani continues to throw to all the left-handers, you're bound to get 1.
McCann sends a ground ball off the glove of Miggy. They'll get the out at first, but the run will score. So McCann gets it done. Ellsbury comes in. And the Yankees have their first lead of the afternoon, 2-1.
If Miggy makes this play, they get 2. But the ball right off the glove, which means that Kinsler has to go back to Miguel Cabrera to get the out. But that ball was hit hard enough that that would have been a double play with McCann running.
RBI for McCann. Here is Chase Headley now with 2 outs and a runner at second. Ball 1 high. Headley, a couple of strikeouts and a walk. Tigers got a run in the first, nothing since. Meanwhile, the Yankees 1 in the 6th and now 1 here in the 8th to go ahead. The 1-0 is swung on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike on Headley. Action in the Detroit bullpen. Job at Chamberlain along with Alex Wilson. Wilson's been up a couple of times here today. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 1-2 on Chase Headley. Chris Young on deck. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss to strike him out. Gorzolani shuts down the inning, but the Yankees have taken the lead on the RBI ground out by McCann. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning at Comerica. first lead of the afternoon. Here are some news and notes from around the major leagues. Have you heard of Paulo Orlando? He has 5 triples.
Does he really? Who is he?
In his first 7 games. No player in history with 3 or more in the first 7 games.
Well, this much we do know. The Kansas City Royals always got a bunch of guys that can run.
Here's a strike called. Hernan Perez. He'll start things off here in the bottom of the 8th. Perez, Ghost, Kinsler facing Dellin Betances. Swing and a miss.
He's got a big arm, but he has thrown a lot of breaking balls in the 2 times the Tigers have seen him in this 4-game series.
Betances came on to get Castellanos in a big spot. Go ahead run on base.
He threw Castellanos 6 straight breaking balls.
Got him strike 3, and Perez is called out by Phil Cuzzi.
Oh, that's not fair. Oh, my goodness. 83 with the previous pitch, and then he reaches back to get 98. Oh, my goodness.
That's a pretty good Petro right there. Outstanding location. So we'll see if Ghost can get it started now. Anthony, a double and a couple of punch outs in this game. They skip out of the way of that one. Goes all the way to the backstop. Yankees bullpen has been really good all season long, among the best ERA in the American League, 3rd best.
They're striking out a lot of guys too, but if you're Joe Girardi, you know that that's not a recipe for success the entire season. At some point in time, his starters are going to have to give him more length in the game, or that bullpen will not be as good as it is right now.
Betances last year had an ERA of 1.40 in 70 relief appearances. Little chopper. Betances, quick throw. 2 gone. That'll bring up Kinsler.
Yeah, Betances is a big boy and got there and nearly slipped when he was throwing that ball to first base.
3 straight retired by the big right-hander. Kinsler is 0 for 3 on 3 ground ball outs. Betances stands 6 feet 8 inches tall. He fires in a strike.
And he throws straight downhill with a fastball that's up in the upper 90s.
8th rounder back in the 06 draft. Ooh, a bender that drops in nicely. 0-2.
When you have a guy that's 6'8" and he throws you that breaking ball, you see fastball coming out of Betances' hand because he is so tall. And then all of a sudden you give up on the pitch and it lands in there nicely for a strike.
The 0-2. Low, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hits allowed per 9, and Betances among the players with the fewest. About 4.5. This is Major League history, folks. With a minimum of 75 innings pitched. Ball high and away, and the count now is 2-2. If Kinsler could get on base, that would bring Cabrera up. Didn't look like he went around. He want the appeal. They'll get it, but he held up. 3-2. Betances, 27 years of age, trying to shut down the 8th inning. And he does. He threw it right by Kinsler. up at the letters at 97, and the inning is over. No runs, no hits, nobody left. A couple of strikeouts for Dellin Betances, and we go to the ninth. Pitcher coming on now for the Tigers. Tigers down by a run. 2-1 is our score, and Jabba Chamberlain will check in.
And Jabba Chamberlain has pitched to 1 2/3 innings in this series, has not given up a hit. Pitching in his 5th game on the season.
So Chamberlain takes over for Gorsalani. And here in the 9th inning, it'll be Chris Young to start things off. Yankees trying to pick up an insurance run.
And for the most part these days, Jabba just a 2-pitch pitcher. A fastball, slider. Although he does have a curveball and a changeup, but he does not use those that often.
First one is in there for a strike on Young, who has fanned twice in this game. He's also singled. Here's the 0-1. Lifted in the air, foul, first base side. McCann and Cabrera, and neither can get there. Back in the seats it goes, 0-2. At the age of just 21 years old, Jabba Chamberlain broke into the big leagues with the New York Yankees. Appeared in 19 games in his rookie season and had an ERA of 0.38.
He was throwing some gas. Fastball was getting up to 100 miles an hour back in those days.
Here's the 0-2. Missed it high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A couple of years later, Jabba was in the rotation, made 31 starts for the Yanks, won 9 games.
There was a stretch there in his first few years where the Yankees really couldn't decide what they wanted to do with Jabba. Whether they wanted to start him, whether they wanted to relieve him.
You got a guy coming out of the bullpen throwing 100 miles an hour. It's awfully difficult to kind of take him out of that role. But then again, starting pitching is at a premium too.
Yeah, they already had a closer in Mariano Rivera, so they thought maybe they'd be better served by inserting Jabba into the starting rotation.
Cespedes with a nice backhanded play.
The only way that you make a play like that is you get a really nice jump off the crack of the bat and you don't give up on the baseball. It would have been easy for Cespedes to give up on this and play it on one bounce, but he just continued to come and makes a real nice grab.
One away. First at bat for Gregorio Petit. Petit shoots that one to left field off the glove of Cespedes. He'll take the turn and go to second. He's in there safely.
That's a hanging breaking ball thrown by Jabba Chamberlain to Petit. Word getting around the American League that Jabba does not use the fastball as much as he used to. He throws a lot more breaking balls these days than fastballs.
Hey, don't forget to follow the Tigers all season in 2015 with the MLB.com At Bat app, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, and a whole lot more. Check it out, MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or your tablets. Big runner standing at second base now as Stephen Drew stands in. And he looks at ball one. That was just the third hit of the day for the Yankees, which means both teams have 3 hits. On an afternoon mostly today dominated by Sanchez and Tanaka. High fly ball right field. J.D. Martinez camping under it. Runner will tag but hold. 2 outs. Well, we have a chance. Let's check in now with Matt Shepard with a preview of tonight's Tigers Live.
All right, Mario, I was just noticing that Jabba Chamberlain missed a loop on the back of his pants there. We'll have to correct that for him. I don't want to talk to another Yankee, but if the game ends this way, that's what's going to happen. We'll also go inside the Tigers clubhouse, talk with Brad Ausmus. What was the issue in arguing that balk, and for good reason. We'll talk with Anibal Sanchez, who I thought pitched wonderfully, and other reaction from today's game against the Yankees. In the meantime, I don't think I can get word to Jabba just yet, Mario, but maybe I can when he comes in about that belt loop in the back. Back to you.
Chef, only you would notice something like that. It's 36 degrees out. My man's still not wearing a jacket down there. He's so tough, and he noticed that belt loop.
That's a nice visit there by the youngster James McCann with a base open in Teixeira. Already having driven in 13 runs this year, he wants to make sure Jabba understands the situation. You don't have to give in to Teixeira here.
And Teixeira looks at a strike 0-1. Came on as a pinch hitter back in the 7th, stayed in the game. He flied out with a couple of runners on.
And also keep in mind that Jabba Chamberlain has had an enormous amount of success against Jacoby Ellsbury in their big league careers.
0-2. Andrew Miller has been warming in their bullpen.
He's going to have to go right through the heart of the Tigers offense.
That's why this runner at second base, it's so critical to strand him there.
Teixeira's gotten 2 fastballs that had been very hittable, but he's thinking with the base open they weren't going to give him anything to hit, so he took both of them.
Ball high, 1-2. The difference right now was an RBI ground ball off the bat of Brian McCann, scoring the go-ahead run in the 8th. Will it hold up? Here's the 1-2. Got him. Strike 3. Teixeira caught looking. The inning is over. Nothing comes to the 1-out double. Hang on to your hats. We're going to the bottom of the 9th inning here at Comerica Park, separated by 1 run, and the Tigers have Cabrera, Victor Martinez, J.D. Martinez. One last chance coming up. Your expectations of what a bank can be. When it's time, come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, we can do that. We are the factory. Well, on a chilly afternoon here in the Motor City, a day dominated by pitching. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Tigers down by a run, and here comes the Yankees closer, Andrew Miller.
Andrew Miller has already saved 5 games for his new team in 5 opportunities. 13 strikeouts, 4 walks, power left-hander, long and lanky with a fastball that gets up to 97.
And he will have to go through the middle of the Tigers lineup, protecting just a 1-run lead.
He pretty much utilizes the slide step on every single pitch, and because he utilizes the slide step, he has commanded the fastball much better the last 2 years.
Cabrera takes the ball low, and the count goes 1-1 on Miguel. He'll be followed by Victor Martinez and then J.D. Martinez.
And a slight shift in the infield for the New York Yankees.
In there for a strike, 1-2 on Miggy.
Petit and the second baseman just about directly behind the bag to share the first baseman. He's well off the first base line. Miggy's taking 2 fastballs right down the middle.
Yes.
Can't guess anymore, though.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Ugh. 1 away.
2 fastballs down the middle taken by Miggy, and then he leaves the strike zone and swings at that slide piece.
Andrew Miller last year was second in the majors with almost 15 strikeouts per 9 last year.
Well, he picked the right year to hit the free agent market. And the Yankees, they allowed their closer, David Robertson, to simply walk.
Well, here is Victor now. Ground ball to third. Diving stop there by Headley. That's the second time he's made a diving play. 2 gone.
Yankees have played some really good defense in the series. They've caught the baseball very well. Second nice play turned in by Headley.
The other thing about that play is he didn't rush his throw. He knew the runner. And Martinez not running all that well. He took his time. Well, it's up to J.D. Martinez, who has a pair of doubles in this game. And he looks at a strike, 0-1.
And J.D. really the only one that's barreled up the ball today for the Tigers. Couple of doubles, both to left field.
Yeah. 2 out of their 3 hits from J.D. And in case the Tigers continue this game, Joakim Soria is warming up. Swing and a miss.
Ooh, that slider nasty. That's Chris Sale kind of slider there.
We kind of knew it.
That's not fair.
J.D. missed that by a wide margin.
That's what you call back foot slider.
Miller did not look this sharp in Tuesday's win. He walked a couple of batters, was all over the place. He's 1 strike away from nailing this one shut. And there it is. Andrew Miller strikes out J.D. Martinez right through the heart of the Tigers lineup, and the Yankees win this one 2-1.
Tigers lose their first series of the year.
New York, a red-hot team right now. They come in, take 3 out of 4 from the Tigers. We'll be back to Comerica Park.